Okay, today we have an email from Mike McClellan. Mike is from Mill Grove, Ontario. Welcome to our neighbors to the north. Mike writes this: I have a 2005 Fleetwood Pace Arrow. From time to time, I cannot get hot water, only warm water from the kitchen sink, bath sink, or shower. On most occasions, when I try again later, I will get hot water. I have checked everything to see why this is happening. I even checked the valve on the hot water tank, and the water is hot at the tank. The other day, the problem appeared again. I had recently flushed out my black holding tank and used the wash-off faucet in the utility compartment to rinse everything down. But when I was done, I apparently did not turn off the hot and cold valves. So then I turned both valves off. I then went inside to check the sink taps to see if this made a difference, and lo and behold, I had hot water again. Can you tell me why this would happen? Well, Mike, yeah, this is a case very similar to an earlier question we had here on Motorhome House Calls, whereby there was a faulty bypass valve at the water heater. Now here's what's happening, and this is basically exactly what happened to you, only in a different area. When the bypass valves are not in bypass mode, in other words, we're using the motorhome, the cold water enters the water heater and comes out as hot and only goes to the hot faucets. That's the way it's supposed to operate. So when you go to a faucet assembly in the bathroom, or the exterior faucet as you did in your plumbing bay, you turn on the hot, the cold, you get the mixture you want right, and what comes out of the faucet is a mixture of hot and cold water. Now, you apparently have one of those shower head type devices in your exterior compartment. Here's a picture of such a device, where you have a faucet assembly, the two knobs, hot and cold, as well as the telephone style shut-off valve on the shower head itself. If you were to close the valve on the shower head itself, but then forget to close the hot and cold faucets, you're creating a situation exactly as if the bypass valve was open at the back of the water heater. Now keep in mind, the water heater's operating, there's water in the water heater, so we're heating that water. So we definitely have hot water emanating from the water heater, but it is circulating not just to the not just to the hot faucets, but it's also circulating backwards through to the cold faucets through that open hot and cold faucet assembly at the exterior faucet assembly that you use to rinse it down. So now you have the opposite of a bypass valve failure by creating your own mixture of hot and cold water. Now the faucet is open, both hot and cold faucets are open at that exterior assembly, so that pre-mingles or preheats the cold water, and then eventually it will heat all the water lines. Basically, it doesn't heat it. What it does is you're mingling hot and cold, so you're going to come up with lukewarm water, which is basically your symptom that you've had at the other faucets. So there's typically two faults to this. One is operator error, not in a bad way, but what you basically experienced by forgetting to turn off the hot and cold faucet valves themselves at that assembly. And the other one is a failed bypass valve at the back of the water heater, where it fails to fully close when you're not in bypass mode. So thereby you're mingling hot and cold. The result is lukewarm, and that's how it happens.